And just like that, the final episode of the recording session has begun. Welcome back to Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. When we last left off, we were cross-examining Mr. Ron DeLight. And now we're in a bit of a pickle here. He said that it took him 10 minutes to open up the safe. Well, that's a load of baloney. Now, I think that the evidence that we need to present is his profile case, right? His profile? Used to work as a guard for KB security, but that doesn't say that he was a police chief, though. Because he was a police chief, so under normal circumstances, you would know the password very easily, right? Not the password, but the combination. It's a lot more those safes are very complicated, so to call it like a password is a bit silly. I think we're supposed to present this profile for this, though. Maybe. Nope, it doesn't work. Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement? I'm not sure I follow you. It clearly contradicts the, I thought... You don't sound very sure, Mr. Wright. Objection overruled. I don't think that won me any points with the judge. Well, I was thinking... I panicked in the body and the safe would take about 10 minutes. I was thinking... He was one of the few people who actually knew the combination, so it shouldn't have taken him 10 minutes. But what evidence exactly do we use to present that? Do we have the safe? I don't think we have the safe as, evidence, do we? No, we don't. We have the CEO office buzzer, publicity photo. All this is irrelevant stuff, for the most part, at the moment. Okay, so... At 1 a.m., caused cerebral hemorrhaging from blunt trauma to the head. Take about 10 minutes. Or... Went off once at 1:02 a.m. on October 12th in CEO's office. Okay, so he was knocked out. He woke up. It took 10 minutes. Okay. I feel like I'm making this a lot more complicated than it needs to be. I think I am. Found 1 a.m. night of the crime. And hid the body in the safe. It took about 10 minutes. CEO office key card. Used on October 12th, the night of the crime at 1 a.m. Publicity photo. CEO office buzzer went off. Connected to the basement secret, there are no fingerprints on it. It went off. Oh, I guess you could also say there's no fingerprints because... Whoa, now that would be interesting. What if Luke at me, he killed whatchamacallit, knocked out Ron, and then pressed the button to cause people to come, and then that's when he made his escape. That would be interesting. And he wears gloves, right? So that would explain why there are no fingerprints. Maybe it wasn't the whatchamacallit who, maybe it wasn't Kane Bullard who hit the button. I didn't think about that. But anyway, we need to figure out what to do here. So, 1 a.m., Ron's testimony. He was stealing as directed by the blackmail letters. Was went off at once at 1:02 a.m. It took about 10 minutes. Can we use this? I don't think so. I think this is wrong. We're gonna try it. Oh, it's right! Okay, this is the thing. Okay, so this is what I wanted to present first, but I kept telling myself that it was incorrect. Alright, whatever. Your Honor, could you please take a look at this record? And what might this be? The record for the emergency buzzer that connects the CEO's office to security. If the button in the office is pressed, a security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once at 1:02 a.m. What? If Mr. Ron DeLight truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as that buzzer sounded. After all, a security guard would have been heading his way. Huh. Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He probably had no idea there was security personnel in the building. Up until 1 year ago, my client was working up as a chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them. But, as it turns out, the guard never came. That was nothing more than a coincidence. The fact that the guard was a pathetic loser, who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend, and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity was not something Mr. DeLight could have known. Ha! Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's sure a bet that Mr. Light didn't even notice the buzzer going off. This buzzer is extremely loud. There is no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is. Conscious? What do you mean by that? Uh-oh. Fine. Let's hear your theory. Let's save first before we do that, of course. Because, you know, that's how it is. Sometimes in life, a man just needs to save his own hide and run away. But in other times, he must take the bull by his horns. And only then will he truly understand the true taste of coffee. Remember the defendant's testimony? The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Light said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes. Unconscious? So he fainted? That's why Mr. Light didn't know that this buzzer had sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. So what are you trying to say? Mr. Light was knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean that there was another person in that room. That's right, whoever it was knocked out Ron DeLight and then pressed the buzzer. Order in the court! Mr. Wright, this is preposterous. It was this kid. Ron DeLight is the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then who pressed the buzzer? It was the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button. So Kane Bullard sounded the buzzer himself? What is your opinion on this, Mr. Wright? I need to prove that the real criminal was there at the scene, but how? By saving, of course. Oh boy. Just when I thought we were on to something. I need to prove that the real criminal was there at the scene. But how? Can I prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? What happens if we hit no, though? Let's check our court record first. Can we prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? Not at the moment, I don't think. Oh, there's no fingerprints on it. Okay, I can prove it all right. The defense opinion is this, Your Honor. This piece of evidence proves that it wasn't the victim who sounded the buzzer. No fingerprints. I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence you were looking for. The emergency buzzer? Is there some kind of clue on it? Absolutely not. Hey, come on now. At least give some thought to what you say before opening your mouth. The fact that there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue. Now I'm the one who's clueless. This button had no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had really pressed it himself, naturally he would have left his fingerprints behind. Ron DeLight obviously wiped them off. Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment. He touched that button, I know he did. The defendant, Mr. DeLight, was dressed as Master Mask. And Master Mask always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly have had to wipe the buttons free of fingerprints? Order! 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 Ha! It would seem. Uh-oh. I've been forced to eat crow. I wonder what blend number crow flavored coffee is. However, if the real killer was there at the scene, why would that person press the emergency buzzer? Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? What's with that awkward silence all of a sudden? It's because this is a series run by MegaShadowFist, so he always does those stupid awkward pauses. I have no idea why he does them, but he does them anyway. Huh, it looks like you're fresh out of parlor tricks. They're on to you, Nick. Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullet at around 1 a.m. And Mr. Light just happened to waltz in when the murder was taking place, right? The killer clobbered Mr. Light and then sounded the buzzer. Even though security is supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed. Security was supposed to respond. Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say. Say first, I almost forgot. Don't be silly. You gotta save, man. You gotta save. Gotta save, man. You gotta save. That could be a dubstep song. I'm so hip. Very well, then. Ho ho. You've got some guts. I like that in an opponent. Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer? They didn't mean to call the security guard to find out what it did. Okay, first of all, it said security in big red, it said emergency in big red letters or alarm or something, that's what Gumshoe said. It was red, it had a caution sign. No one's that stupid. The cause of the security guard. They didn't mean to? No, I'm pretty sure it was on purpose to call the security guard. The killer knew that if they pressed that button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted. Do you mean to say this killer called the guard on purpose? Yes. Although, as it turned out, he never showed up. Because he was getting his clock clean at the time. Ha! What a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in? No, I'm not. When the buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Kane Bulletin, who was already dead. The defendant, Rhonda Light, who was out cold. And the third person, the real killer. Hypothetically, yes. Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Rhonda Light. And if any security guards came running in at that time, they would think that I was the murderer. Yes, that was precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Rhonda Light for the murder. Why does he always do that? Order! 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 Ha! It would seem. I've been made to eat my words once again. Let's go ahead and save again. Why don't we? Just in case I randomly ask you for more evidence and you're unprepared and you get it wrong, and then you have to load and do a bunch of crap all over again from save point. I've been made to eat my words once again. Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee. Mr. Wright, who was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Wait a second. I'm the one and only Master Mass, so... Nick, you mean the real killer is... We're gonna drag that person in here right now. But, who is it? I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. Light's identity, and they also knew that he had been called to keep security that night. So, the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard. Now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. Who was it that framed Mr. Rhonda Light for the murder of Kane Bullard? It was the Amy Faye statue, wasn't it? I'm sure it was. Where is he? No, he's on the first page. I don't know. Look at me. Detective Luke at me. He's the only one who could have done it. Ace Detective. Luke at me? You mean Master Mass did it? Your Honor, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Master Mask at all. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Kane Bullard. Order! Order! Mr. Wright, explain yourself! Theft and murder. Which is the more serious crime? They're not even close. Murder is the more serious crime, of course. It's a capital crime subject to a capital punishment. Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would. When Luke Atme confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom. Of course, a famous detective was unmasked as, well, as Master Mask. Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along. To be found guilty. Master Mask had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lordly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Master Mask was Luke Atme's airtight, watertight, and an unassailable alibi. A guilty verdict as an alibi! You know, it's almost time. For what? For Luke Atme's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course. That's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder. Excuse of course. Did I say excuse of course? Excuse-moi. Couldn't save. Suspending game. Continue from save point. Mr. Luke Atme's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. If we were to intrude and fail to provide adequate proof of his true crime, Mr. Light would be left with no grounds for appeal. Am I really sure about this? Huh. A bet's only good when your life's the ante. Mr. Wright, I believe in you! Mr. Delight. So, please, I'm begging you! Thanks, but my decision will determine the rest of your life. Can I really risk your life like this? Phoenix. What was that? Okay, is Phoenix is Mia possessing Maya right now? Don't stay, Phoenix. For your client, take the path of trust. That voice, it sounds like Mia! Your Honor, the defense requests an immediate recess. Huh. So that's your answer, huh? Very well, I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke Atme to the stand. Yes, Your Honor. October 14th, 11:58 a.m., District Court, Courtroom Number 5. Oh, well, if it isn't Mr. Payne! Well, Sir Detective Atme! Ha! I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly. Oh no, Sir Detective Atme! You were the one who... Oh, here's the this must be the Canadian judge. Okay, we're gonna have to give him the stereotypical Canadian / United States Midwestern accent. Sorry, that's what we're gonna have to do. That's enough. This court sees no reason. Why am I going in? This is not... What? Yeah. This court sees no reason. What am I doing? This is not Midwestern. Yeah, this court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. This court finds the defendant Luke Atme. Wait! Don't hand down your verdict yet, please. Well, well, sir lawyer, welcome to my courtroom. Who's this hoser, eh? My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law, and I wish to file an accusation against this man, Luke Atme. Accusation? You accuse Mr. Damask! That man is not Master Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer. What? What? Sorry if you're a real hoser, eh? You're gonna have to go to the other courtroom. Why can't I not? Hey guys, it's your old pal Uncle Tommy here. Here from Minnesota. I'm here to give you a little bit of, I don't know, a bit of the sauce. You know, the alcohol and the whatnot. That's the sauce. I don't know what I'm doing right now. October 14th, 12:14 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 4. My sis? I could have sworn I heard Mia's voice. So then, she's still alive? Inside your heart. Nicky boy! Oh, Mr. Light. Is it true that Detective is the real killer? To be honest, we don't have any definite proof. But he's the only one who could have done it. But wasn't he at Loreley Taylor that night? Not to mention, we don't exactly know his motive. I mean, why would Detective Atme want to kill Kane Bullard? Oops! It's almost time. Better get back to the courtroom. I need to find some solid proof. And it's gotta happen sooner rather than later. If only we had Detective Gumshoe to do some investigation behind the scenes. October 14th, 12:21 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 70,000. Now then, this court is back in session. Mr. Luke Atme, please take the stand. Well, well, how do you do, Sir Lawyer? I never would have thought to see you acting so recklessly. I couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet. Not when it would have given you your perfect alibi. An alibi by the name of Master Mask. I'm sorry, I'm afraid even the great Luke Atme has no idea what you mean. Of course, I have been in the next courtroom ever since 10 o'clock this morning. I'm afraid there's no way I could know what's been going on in here. You've been in the defendant's cell all day You've been in the defendant's seat all day long, correct? Being tried as Master Mask. Indeed, it's truly child's play to fool the ignorant masses. Not only did the poor fools ask me to protect their valuables, they even gave me a generous reward upon returning their own property to them. Take this red diamond ring that sparkles upon my divine finger, for example. Ha! Ha 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 ha. Ha! Ha 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 ha. I don't know. Like I said, I already theorized that it was Luke Atme who wrote the blackmail letter, but that's all the proof I need, man. Red diamond? I'll take back the red diamond? Okay. So you continue to insist that you are, in fact, Master Mask? Of course. Very well then, Luke Atme. Let's begin with this simple question. On October 12th at 1 a.m., Kane Bullard was murdered. Where were you at that time? One without knowledge lacks even the knowledge that he should be ashamed of himself. But don't worry, I will not hold it against you, Sir Judge. Thanks. Alright, Mr. Atme. The night of the murder. Speak! We're listening. As you wish, Sir Protector. Witness testimony, the alibi. I was stealing the urn as Master Mask, just as I announced I would. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder. True. It seems the main point of discussion will be this photo of the crime scene. Everything else up until now was all part of his plan. There has to be a secret to this picture as well. Even the great Master Mask cannot be in two places at once. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I have a verdict to receive. Unfortunately, Mr. Atme, we still have to do your cross-examination. A fool is too foolish to know what Hey! Don't steal Lady Von Karma's lines. A fool is too foolish to know that he is a fool. I think he's trying to say that you're full of it, Nick. The only thing that's full of it is his alibi. Alrighty then. Now that we began the cross-examination, we shall save. Please. Let's see, this has been going on for 24 minutes, so we still have about, 6 minutes left in the recording session. So let's see if we can press everything. I was doing the urn as Master Mask, just as I announced I would. So this photograph is the proof, correct? Indeed it is. And the man in this photo is certainly wearing a mask. That is why I'm called Master Mask. But conveniently, that also means that there is no way to tell who this really is. That's what I was thinking. What do you mean? That's what you mean, right? Objection. Ha! Are you saying that this is not, in fact, Luke Atme? that it could be an accomplice dressed up as Master Mask to create an alibi. Oh ho! What an interesting idea! Are you saying that I, Lone Wolf Luke, had an accomplice? We're not gonna name an accomplice just yet, give it up. If Luke at me was at KB Security during the murder, then the Master Mask in this picture has to be the fake. Has to be a fake. Then there really was an accomplice. But right now I have no idea who it is. I don't have any idea right now either. Baseless objections are just what that guy wants. There's got to be another way, and I'm going to find it. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. I believe Adrian Andrews hired you at one point. That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. You sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor 10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent out the card after you began your security watch, right? Indeed. There was no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once. It was a perfect opportunity to steal my latest target. I see. You truly are evil, aren't you? Yes, evil as what I am. Hey, Nick. Isn't there something odd about this? Detective Atme was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lordly Taylor while he was the only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona. You know, that's true. It is kind of odd. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here, is that correct? Indeed it is, that it is! The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. When you think about it, it's really odd. You say that almost as if you had this picture taken on purpose. Objection. He was simply caught by the very camera that he had set up. We all have days like that. Indeed, it turned out that there was no such thing as a perfect crime after all. Life is truly an ironic thing, a sad blue melody. It looks like I better gather more information for now. If he's truly the killer, there's gotta be something phony in that photo. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder. About the camera that took this photograph. Oh, come now! It's all too clear what you're thinking! Huh? You think! I altered the timestamp on the photograph, don't you? No, that's honestly not what I was thinking, but sure. I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lordly Taylor, and on top of that, it was Lordly Taylor's staff that printed the picture data. Unfortunately, for the defense, there's no way that picture could have been altered. I see! It looks like I'd better find something else that could be suspicious. So, this alibi is false? It has to be, or he couldn't have killed Mr. Bullard at KB Security. But I'm not really spotting anything unusual. There are two possibilities. Either the Master Mask in the photo is a fake, or the photo itself is. I was doing the urn as Master Mask just as I announced I would. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Master Gas at the same time as the murder. Now this, the first one, this is the one that like Maya was like, oh blah 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 blah. This is weird. I have more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. Right? Like, let's hear Maya's explanation again. Okay, let's skip all this. I see. Yes, evil. Hey, Nick, isn't there something odd about this? Detective Atme was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lordly Taylor while he was the only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona. You know, that's true. It is kind of odd. Okay. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder. So this, we know, is not false. That is, there's no contradiction there, and it could not have, the time could not have been altered. Let's go back. I was stealing the urn as Master Mask just as I announced I would. Okay, we can't really point an accomplice just yet, so we don't want this. So it's either the second or the third one. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. That is true. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. Now, we can't really prove that this is a fake photo, can we? I think we have to. I think the game is telling us anyway that we're supposed to present evidence for this. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. Are you sure about that? Okay, all of this is irrelevant stuff, I believe. Ron's testimony, sacred urn. What does it say? Broken and repaired by Agent Andrews 2 weeks ago, then replaced in its box, kept out of sight. 2 weeks she knocked over some paint. Wooden box that had sacred urn has pink paint stains on it. Buzzer record. Okay, now that stuff is pointless. All of this stuff is pointless for right now. Blackmail letter. It was a pathetically easy job. What does this say? On October 12th at Brig 50,000. If you don't, I'll take the red diamond you see the other day instead. Do we really have anything that would prove it was a pathetically easy job? At one time, enough time to prepare. Simple for heist, the emblem stops you touch about check mode. I will be coming to purloin the most priceless work of art on display in your treasure of Kudayan exhibit. Take good care of the special urn, won't you? Yours truly, Master Mast. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. Let's go ahead and press this again. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here. Is that correct? Indeed it is. That is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. Surely even you understand by now. Lord Lee Taylor provided the camera. There's no way I could have tampered with it. That means I could not have killed Kane Bullard, unless I had an accomplice. Come on, think long and hard about that night. The basement warehouse, and this picture that supposedly captures it. It's gotta be here. Isn't there something funny about this picture? Well, they didn't ask us to do that before. Alright, you bet there is, sure. Are you implying that this picture is a fake? I guess. You bet I am. There's definitely something strange about this picture. We took a look around the basement warehouse that night, before the theft took place. And there's something in this photo that doesn't match my memory of that night. Very well. Very well, then let's hear what you have to say. What about this photograph do you find funny? Okay, so we came there before it was stolen, right? And yeah, there's the paint and everything. Sure. Let's go ahead and present the paint splotch. The funny part is right here. Why, this is a bloodstain. Not to be confused with Bloodstained, the video game. Ah, blood! Now this case is getting interesting. Not exactly. This stain is actually pink paint. Oh, just paint, and peach colored at that. From blood to peaches, the judge sure loves going on his wild tangents. The problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is, when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse, it turns out that something that should be there is nowhere to be seen. I don't even think we need to say for this. Well, Mr. Wright? What is supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stains? Amy Faye's golden statue. The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following. Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime, around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. I realized that the statue would be the perfect size for covering with the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I myself was there that night that the theft took place and saw the statue in that spot. And actually, one interesting thing is, I believe, if you look at the crime, not the publicity photo, but if you look at the, where is it? The security camera photo, all it tells is a time. It does not give a specific date. So there we go. I myself was there that night that the theft took place and saw the statue in that spot. If this picture was truly taken on that night, then that statue should have been there. But when I went there the day after the theft, that statue of the old bag was sitting in the corner. Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally. Your Honor, this statue is slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental push to move it that distance. Huh. In that case, can you prove it? We're not gonna end the episode just yet. We're not gonna end the episode just right now. We need to prove it while all the information is fresh in my head. Honestly. Alright, from save point. Can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why that statue was moved that night? Can you do it, Nick? Never mind who moved it. The real question is, why did they move it? Well, Mr. Wright, I hope you are prepared with your answer. Now then, who was the one that moved the golden statue on the night of the crime? Okay, so it wasn't Phoenix. It wasn't Mia. Okay, so the only logical explanation, it wasn't Rhonda Light, obviously. It wasn't Kane Buller because he was busy being dead. It wasn't Desiree. It wasn't Adrian. The only logical person I could think of is Luke Atme. The one who moved the statue is none other than Luke Atme! Come now, Sir Lawyer! There you go again on one of your strange delusions! Mr. Wright, what base do you have for your strange delusions? It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night. That is indeed very simple. However, why would I want to move a heavy golden statue? The reason for moving the golden statue, here's where a battle really begins. Well, Mr. Wright, I hope you're ready to save. I think we're gonna keep going until we have to do another witness testimony, I think. Or another cross-examination. That's when we'll stop. From save point. Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move that statue? The reason can be found here in this photograph. Luke Atme, you pretended to be mask to mask to create an alibi by showing you were at Lordly Taylor that night. But this photograph contains a single fatal flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would be exposed like cheap film at a drugstore. That is why you moved the statue. A single fatal flaw. Interesting theory. Please enlighten us. Just where in this picture does this lie exist? In April? Let's see here. The box itself? Where in this picture does the lie exist? The time? No, I don't think that's anything. It's not the bloodstain. Okay, so... Can we really present the time? I don't think so. The box? It doesn't have, like, any paint stains or anything. Where in this picture does this lie exist? Sure? We'll go with it. I don't think that's right. The lie is mask to mask! Are you saying that this mask to mask is a... That's what I was saying. We'll go with it! Huh. You know, I really wish you would start acting more responsibly. Huh? The current question is, why was the golden statue moved? So what possible connection could there be with mask to mask identity? Oh, buggers. Your face has "oh buggers" written all over it. That's a penalty for you. That's enough, okay. How did you know? How did you know, Judge? How did you know that I was thinking "oh buggers"? Are you a psychic? Alright, there's our guilty. The accused will surrender to the court immediately to be held pending trial. I don't know why you can't just skip past this stuff. Like it's old. Okay, there we go. We're gonna load the save. Please. From save point. What reason did the witness have to move the statue? The reason can be found here in this photograph. Luke Atme, you pretended to be mask to mask to create an alibi by showing you were at Lordly Taylor that night. But this photograph contains a single fatal flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would be exposed like cheap film at a drugstore. That is why you moved the statue. A single fatal flaw. Interesting theory? Please enlighten us. Just where in this picture does the lie exist? So I tried presenting the box, but they just highlighted over Luke at me himself. I don't think the blood stain or the paint stain is going to work. I don't think that it was the time. I don't think that's gonna work. Naturally, the lie in this photo is the timestamp. What do you mean? I'll tell you exactly what I mean. There's no date. There's only a time. On the night in question, Luke at me went to KB Security and murdered Kane Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to have been at Lordly Taylor at this time. Not quite where I was going with that. I thought that was rather obvious. We wouldn't need to explain that, but sure. But what does that have to do with the statue being moved? Remember, if you will, Your Honor. When was this statue placed beside the warehouse door? Well, the statue was taken down at the warehouse on the day of the crime, and it was placed there in order to cover up the paint. Exactly. Luke Atme had already decided on the time when he was going to kill the victim, and so in order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place. Huh. What the? Of course, the statue hadn't yet been brought down to the basement warehouse yet, and it is true the stain was made 2 weeks ago. Ah! So, on the day of the crime, Mr. Atme must have been quite nervous. As nervous as long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory, so to speak. Why? Because something that wasn't supposed to be there had been brought down and placed where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Atme had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He did it to make room. He did it to make the room match with the way it happened in his photo. Order! Order! Mr. Atme, is this true? One moment, Your Honor. Have you forgotten this? What's that? The data of the basement warehouse computer. According to this, the camera did indeed go off at the night of the crime. It's true that the camera had been set up by the Lordly Taylor staff. However, the program used to manage the data was yours. That alone would have allowed you to tamper with the data. Order! Order! Mr. Goda, what is the meaning of this? Uh-oh. I keep saying that every time. Goda, I warned you about making me wait! Now put that coffee down! My 11th cup. I've promised to drink no more than 17 during a trial, which means I'm still good to the last drop. However, the defense has a very good point. A good point? So what? We are all but travelers on a road of infinite points. I think you've got your points mixed up with your other points. So, you say this photograph was taken ahead of time, and that the statue was moved in order to make it match? That's a very interesting idea. However, there's one point that can't be denied. Which is that it's only a possibility. Men that are trapped by the chains of maybe can never reach their dreams. I was about to say true dreams, but okay. That's very true! No way, don't fall for that, Your Honor! Hey, Mr. Damask. Yes! If there's no funny business in your actions as Master Mask, there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy, so let's hear it. Yes! Please provide this court with your testimony about your plan to steal the Sacred Urn. Witness testimony of Sacred Urn heist. I first received the request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box, and Svati! It was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 AM on October 12th. This is a long witness testimony. That's pretty much all stuff we've heard before, isn't it? Yeah, but we will find the truth hidden in the nuggets of new information he gave. Witness, you sure there are no mistakes this time? Svati! Very well then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Of course, the Sacred Urn heist, you'll be doing that in the next recording session, of course. So, Yeah, I guess I'll be seeing you guys in a couple days. Yeah. Bye, guys, because I'm the judge. Yeah. I don't know where I was going, but anyway. Interesting, very interesting indeed that Mr. Sir Lawyer is doing stuff right now. I don't know where I'm going with this. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. I do believe. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't, I don't know. But without further ado, I guess now is a good time to end things off. So, without further ado, if you like this video or this series of videos, please feel free to leave a like. If you thought it was cool, please feel free to subscribe and join the Elven Brotherhood today. Also follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/MegaShadowFist. I'll be sure to leave that in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. And this is MegaShadowFist signing out. Goodbye. For now!